Yo, what is up, everyone? My name is Dom, and we're here to talk about two stocks that I'm trading today. Doing a little bit different of a video, but first we gotta start off with a disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. The statements made in this programming are solely the opinion of the show and are not a specific inducement to make an investment. One must perform their own due diligence and realize that all investments carry risk. There's no guarantee of profit. Okay, super important that I read that because trading options or stocks can be incredibly risky. So, first one I want to talk about today is AMD. Now, I have a stock position in AMD, full disclosure, but in the morning here, the stock was down about a dollar, $2, and there's people, I saw a lot of these puts trading here. You can see, so what I look for, you can look in the description below my trade to find more information about my trading strategy. So, what we're looking for is institutional traders coming in and making short-term bets on stocks either because they might know information. Just read about it down below, trying to keep these videos a little bit more short. So, traders were coming in and buying a lot of these 94 strike puts in the morning. The stock started falling. They were right at first, and then the stock had a reversal here and actually closed up $2.14, as we can see here. And as the stock started to turn from negative to positive throughout the day, we saw some nice orders here in some of these calls. So this is kind of a little bit of a wash here, but in the morning I was a little nervous. I was probably about to get into some of these puts, but I just waited it off because I thought the stock would turn around. It did. We had a nice rally here. So I'm a little bullish here. I would probably put some calls on if it were me trading. Obviously, this is for educational purposes only. If we take a look at the chart here, we can see that AMD might have a trade up to this 102 level. Probably about this 102 level. I think it might be able to make it through there to about 109. Now, what I would do, I have a stock position in this one, so I might take some off around this 102 level here. I think we bought it in the 80s, so we would have a nice gain there. But if I were trading the calls, I would see how it trades tomorrow. I would probably, if it were me, if the stock had a little bit of a pullback in the morning, I would get some calls then, look to trade it up, probably even lower to this 100 level here because these are such short-term options that these people are getting here. But since I do have a stock position, if this thing starts going lower here and breaks this 50-day moving average, I'll probably cut the trade off, take the profit, or maybe put on a hedge, buy some puts, profit short term, because I think AMD, it has a nice uptrend going here. We might check back to the uptrend somewhere on this 100-day moving average around probably a little bit above that, around 85. But I'm not sure it would go much lower than that, but I'm not sure I want to ride the stock back down to 85. So you kind of got to decide, am I going to put a stop in around the 50-day, sell it at 92, possibly just move on to the next trade at that point or wait for it to pull back? Or am I just going to hedge the position by getting some puts? So this is where I say following these institutional traders, you kind of have to look at everything as a conglomerate and also do your own technical analysis. You can't really just blindly buy because institutional traders are buying. I always I always do my own technical analysis here. I also combine the fundamentals. So like PE, not so much PE ratio sometimes, but just, quality of the business, management, all that, because good stocks tend to go higher and bad stocks, low quality stocks tend to go lower. Less profitable companies, not as experienced management, etc. Now, next one I want to talk about is Tesla. Now, this one here, we can take a look at the options chain here. I saw some nice calls being bought for these May 26th, these weekly calls, 2 weeks out. Less than 2 weeks out. We have a week and 4 days for these options here. These May 26, 170 calls. There was a lot of traders coming in and buying these. Like what I've said about Tesla before, the nearest expiration week of options, these May 19th, always trade a ton here. You can see 107,000 contracts traded. There was some nice orders, mostly on the call side that I saw. I think it was there was quite a bit more calls being bought than puts. So I'm bullish on Tesla here. Tesla has an annual meeting tomorrow. I don't think anything's going to come out of that. Also, I guess Elon Musk is going to be on CNBC. So it always tries to hype up the stock a little bit. So maybe they're buying calls for that. But I think this is a good risk reward trade here, in my opinion, because we're laying out such a small amount of premium here. I would probably go out to these ones here, these 170 calls, laying out about $400. Those are actually a little expensive, but take a gamble here and see how it plays out. Remember, I always cut the losses around 50% loss. Can't really let it ride to zero. I've ridden options all the way down and they've come back, but it's kind of a risky game doing that. So I think we've talked about the chart before. You can kind of see here, we have a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders forming here. The opposite of a head and shoulders, which is bearish. This is a bearish to bullish reversal here. I don't really like how we broke down below this 164 level here. But you can see we only broke down it for a day and closed below it. And also we filled this gap here and we're bouncing this gap right here. Stocks are our gaps are kind of magnets for stocks. So you can see this gap here. We opened up and made a gap and we were bouncing around. We came down and we filled the gap here just barely, you can see. So like I always say, gaps are magnets for stocks. If a stock gaps up, it'll most likely fill it. I think the statistic is something crazy, like 80 to 90% of the time. So I'm bullish on Tesla here, although I don't like how all these moving averages here are sloping down. That is definitely showing negative momentum for sure. And also the stock is not very oversold right now. So might be a little tough for a bounce, but I think we might have a catalyst coming up here. That's why institutional traders are coming in and they're buying calls. So I'm bullish. I own the stock here. I'm going to hold the stock. I'm going to look to get in to these calls tomorrow morning. If the stock is down, if the stock is up in the morning, then I would say we probably missed the trade. But if the stock is down in the morning, which I think it might be, it could, I'm going to get some calls. I'm going to get these May 26th 170 calls. I'm going to look to get these probably, hopefully around $375 each, and we'll play it from there. So, thanks for everyone who has been subscribing lately. I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you want to. It would be much appreciated. Make sure to leave a like on this video if you liked it so I know to keep making more content like this. And also, make sure to turn on the bell so you get notifications and never miss a video. We'll see you in the next one.